Excellent. So, all right, we're recording. So it's Brian MacArthur here at Eric McShannon, and we're looking to onboard into the leveraged Outlook software program to automate outreach within LinkedIn. Any questions so far, or are we ready to jump into it?
No, ready to follow your lead.
All right. So you should have gotten an email, possibly accounts@hummingbird.so. If you can check to see if you can find that, that's great. If I have to uninvite you and reinvite you, then I will gladly do that.
Welcome to social prospecting service.
There you go. All right, cool. So if you wouldn't mind, can I have you share your screen? Is that okay?
Okay. Share.
Click here to set up and the body of the email. I use the Eric at McShannonInsurancePlus.com.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, awesome. All right, excellent. So you are in. This is your portal. The very first thing that you will do is click right there to reconnect, or basically connect your LinkedIn account. And if I'm correct, you already have LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right? Perfect. So let's hit the reconnect button.
Prioritize, blah, blah. Anything I need to know before I hit this button?
Oh, no. But it's okay. If your LinkedIn is a different email address, that's fine. There's no issues with that.
That's not my thing.
All right. Let's see.
Reconnect again. Now that it has permission.
Connected.
Okay.
Nice. All right. Excellent. So why don't you go to home? Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do is you've got your account set up. We're going to launch a campaign. The primary campaign is a prospecting campaign. And for our purposes, we're going to focus on financial advisors, and we'll talk a little bit about how to segment them. So let's click on campaigns, please. Okay, and over to the right, let's click create campaign, prospecting campaign. Yeah. And let's just name this, name it, any preference?
We can do broad, or we can do an Edward Jones.
Let's do an Edward Jones one. How many states are you licensed in? There's no right answer.
A dozen or so.
Okay. But why don't we name this Edward Jones? That's plenty. So, okay. So a couple things before we click off of this. We're going to build the campaign, which of course we know that because it says build your campaign. Ultimately, if you see to the right of Edward Jones assigned to Eric McShannon, you'll see that audience, messaging, and settings are all grayed out, right? Once we do the things to make those green, then launch campaign, which is also grayed out, will suddenly become colorful and we'll be able to click on it. And thank you for hovering over that. You can see we cannot do that yet. So what we're going to do is let's scroll down a little bit, and I'm going to maximize my screen. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is in a different window, if you can open up your LinkedIn account.
All right.
All right, great. So you see top right corner, once you've bought Sales Navigator, which clearly you have, you see the Sales Navigator icon. So once you click on that, please. All right, we'll click maybe somewhere lower on anybody that you, okay. All right, well, that's interesting. Okay, so there we go. Okay, great. Okay, so now you're on the LinkedIn Sales Navigator page. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to filter all of LinkedIn down to the people that you want to target. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is in that search field to the right, you see lead filters with the plus sign. So slightly higher. There you go. All right, you click on that, please. Great. Okay, so now we're going to filter the whole LinkedIn universe down to who we want here. So we pretty much just need about 4 pieces of criteria. So on this one, as an example, under company, there you go. Under current company, let's click on that. And let's type in Edward Jones. Perfect. And let's click include. There you go. Okay. We're good on that. Okay. So we can minimize that. If we go down under role, under current job title, so one section below, let's type in financial advisor and include. Now
there was
you could add financial consultant or whatever. Different firms. Some of them have financial advisors. Some of them are senior vice president. So over time, you might, Edward Jones, financial advisor is probably sufficient for the majority of Edward Jones profiles. As you dig into LinkedIn, you might see certain terms that other advisors use, right? So, but for now, financial advisors casting a pretty wide net. We're okay with that. Let's go let's go down and see if we can get to geography. There you go, geography. And let's hit the plus sign. Okay. And now why don't you just put it in, let's put in Dallas, Fort Worth. All right. Let's just click on that for a moment. All right, now before we do anything else, let's go to upper right, and you'll see that as we have things filtered, that's 685 results, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to pay attention to that. We may come back to geography, but let's go up and look to the second column. All right, and in best path in, click on connection. Excuse me. All right, you're just going to click second degree connections. All right, now when we do that, that's going to shrink it down to about 202, right? So a couple things here. Clearly, not to state the obvious, we're looking for people who work at Edward Jones with the title financial advisor in their LinkedIn profile in Dallas, Fort Worth, second degree connections. Why do we focus on second degree connections? Because one, your first degree connections are already your own connections, so you can prospect them a little bit differently in a nurture campaign because presumably they have some level of familiarity with you, right? Only creepsters are reaching out to third degree connections, so we don't want that. So we're looking at second degree connections because these are people you have at least one mutual connection. If you look over to the right, you'll see, David Plumberg, you've got 3 mutual connections, and Rick Salt is 4. And these are people that have a higher propensity to accept your invitation. Okay. So as an example, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Understood.
So you know what? Just for kicks, let's go back to geography, Eric, and
Okay.
let's X out of Dallas Fort Worth, and let's just write in Texas and see what happens. Texas, United States. Perfect. So we'll click on that. All right, 268. So you live in Dallas, which is right. It didn't change a whole lot. But so question for you is, what are some other states that you're licensed in?
Open. I think I still have it open.
Just hit that plus sign.
Let's see. We got Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, and then we got Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Tennessee, Utah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'd like to get this one. I mean, we can go as big as you'd like, but I'd like to get this to about 1,500 if we
Okay.
could. So yeah, might throw in Florida and include. All right, 322. Keep on adding states.
What are we at without? Well, if I don't put any, what are we at? Will it show everywhere if I take them off?
Yeah, it'd probably show. I mean, you can just as an exercise, once you do that, you got 975. Now, understand these are second degree connections, right?
Yeah.
So my network is, I didn't see how many.
I don't have that big yet.
Okay. So, but understand with every advisor who accepts
Yeah.
you're exactly. So
Maybe
just
just
start
start
expanding
and
the
I'll
second
just
degree
add-
connections.
and I'll just add states as I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, so that way we don't shrink that number more than we need to.
Right. So, okay. So you're going to, I gotcha. All right, great. All right. So you got 975. So we'll just kind of start with this. This will probably take 2.5 months for this campaign to complete the first time. Right. So that's fine. So now that we have this campaign, I want you to just left click the URL up top and now right click it and copy it. There you go. All right. Now let's go back to the lead tool. All right. And I'd like you to paste it. There you go. Perfect. All right. So now that it's in there, click preview audience. And once you have previewed, it's going to think for a bit.
It will.
Okay, great. And then just hit confirm audience. Perfect. Okay. So you'll notice in the upper left corner, audience just went green.
Yes.
Yep, right. You got it. Okay, cool. So let's move down to messaging. And I'm going to give you, hold on a second. What's easier for me to put the messages in the chat or email them to you?
Either's fine.
Okay.
Get back to
Okay, so here this comes in the chat. And again, if this becomes inconvenient, just let me know. Okay, so, oh, look at that. It already pre-populated. So just again, for instructions, just for kicks, let's delete the first name.
Okay.
Okay. And click personalization and click first name. Okay, so that's how you would add the person's name in there, right? And it's going to do that for each person. So first name looks like I would get rid of last name. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Sure.
blank.
All good. Yeah. So look, the big thing that I want to impress upon here is it's so often when we buy software or some tool, we just want results tomorrow. This really will deliver great results. Understand these people have no idea who you are. You're just reaching out for a connection. Everybody wants results yesterday. I don't care how good a salesperson you think you are, the overall vibe and mantra of using this tool is just kind of putting yourself out there. All right. because one, you have one more contact who has a better chance of seeing your content, and you do a great job of posting content. Number two, you just expanded your second degree audience, which has a good chance of being other Edward Jones advisors. So as you go back, you can refresh this. And with every new connection, you're going to expand the second degree connections that you can reach out to. Number three, what you're trying to do is move them in a very easygoing way to booking a meeting with you, right? So you'll notice that this is just, I mean, it's pretty friendly. I would not deviate from this friendly vibe, okay? Because the first time that I did it, I wanted to build Rome in a day and I didn't get as many results. And the person mentoring me said, you gotta, like, Brian, dude, just try to get them to accept your invitation as a connection, right? That's success number one, and it counts, right? So that's that. Number two, the second message, while I'm sending this to you, please, oh, it's already there. You'll notice that it's set up to go out 3 hours after. Okay, so you don't need to adjust that because it's already set up for that. So here's message number two. It doesn't mean that you can't make some changes here and there, but I'd ask you before you ever make any changes to really read the message, kind of embrace the easygoing nature of just trying to move this along without being too pushy, and don't deviate from that, right? So,
Okay.
all right. And that's correct. That's going to go out 3 hours after they accept your connection request. So you don't need to adjust that. All right. Message number three is going to go out 5 days later.
And that's this one, if no reply?
Yes.
Okay.
So 5 days. Okay. Now I'm going to give you some words, and you're welcome to just personalize it a little bit, but you can see what we're trying to do here. And if instead of 30 attendees, you can say 20 or 26 or whatever, right? So okay. Now we're actually going to do 4 messages here for reasons I don't understand. You can see it's only letting us put in 3, right? Can you scroll up a little bit just to make sure? Yep. Okay. So now you'll notice, you see the 243 of 245 over to the right. Okay, so if we're under that, that means we have enough. If for some reason you had 250, it would make you delete 5 characters in order to send that message, right? So anyway, let's go down below the third message and click confirm sequence. Now, okay, once you've done that, now let's hit edit or back down there. No, okay, so here, hit just save it again, save changes. Okay, now let's, do you see the up top where it says Edward Jones assigned to Eric McShannon?
Yeah.
Let's hit the button or the arrow to the left. Yeah, let's do that and kind of back out of the campaign. Let's hit the refresh button just for kicks. Okay, now these are all your campaigns. You don't see anything now because we're in the active section, but if you click on draft, there you go. Now you can highlight over anywhere on there. It doesn't change from a cursor. Yeah, there you go. You just click anywhere there. Okay, let's click on draft. All right. And then, let's just click on it again and see if it lets us in. Okay. All right. So now let's go back and click edit right there under there. Why is it not letting us add the 4th message? Over to the left, can we click on messaging? Let's click edit sequence up there. Okay. Now let's go to the bottom. There you go. It says plus message. Okay. So you had to click on messaging. All right. Great work, by the way. All right. So here comes message number 4.
Is it days, weeks?
Oh, thank you for asking. It is 11 days. Okay.
Until I get it.
Now that looks like the same one. That looks like message number 3.
I'll get copy. Let's try to get copy.
Okay. All right. Now, of course, you probably have a scheduling link, right?
Yeah, it would go high level. Yeah, and go Google.
Okay. Why don't you erase that and put in your actual scheduling link?
I had to come back and edit that and I don't have it.
Or yeah, I mean,
put in. You have it. I can put it in that one. I think I do still. Well, I'll come back to it. I don't want to.
No problem. Okay. So, all right. So now let's scroll down a little bit and we're going to save this sequence, or maybe you have to go up top, save. Okay. Yeah. I'll just save. Okay. Now I'm sure you're noticing we got audience and messaging are both green, right?
Yes.
So let's scroll all the way down. I think it'll bring us to settings. If not, we can click on it some other way.
Clicked over. I think when we clicked in the messaging, it may have, then we just have to click it over here now.
Okay. All right. Well, here, this is going to ask you for your calendar link again. So Let me see. Do you think there's any chance that you and I have that any email I've ever had from you? I don't think you and I have emailed each other a lot, but in this area, you would click add details. If you can't do it now, let's see.
Use Calendly over Go Guru. No, you don't use one through there.
Well, I would just use one that you know works. So back for. Oh, okay. Wait, hold on a second. I got your Google business page.
Yeah, I haven't been really into using them, but let me.
Oh, okay.
I'll just make one with Calendly real quick. I thought I already had
Okay.
one, but apparently it went pretty quick. There's a 30-minute messaging. Oh, it's just edit. It was on this last one, just like that.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll save that.
Mhm.
And now we'll go back to settings. Yeah, a little bit higher. There you go. Add details. Okay, and let's paste that in there. Beautiful. Okay, let's scroll on down. Okay, so this part's important. You have 425 invitations a month. Okay, so we're going to decide how many you want to do. Let's just say this was your only campaign. Logic would say, well, let's put in 425. I'm going to argue you should probably put in like 400, just so that you have the autonomy a couple times a month to go, oh, I'd like to connect with that person.
Yeah.
We're trying to emulate human behavior, right? And about 425 or under is we don't have to worry about LinkedIn worrying that you're kind of spamming. You're inside the bell curve of human activity. Now, for right now, you could put in mails. In mails are not nearly as effective. I mean, there's no harm in throwing spaghetti against the wall. In mails are going to be messages to people you're not connected with. Much lower response. I mean, I don't want to tell you not to throw it in mails, but they show up in a different area of your messaging, and most of it's a little bit more spammy. Doesn't mean you can't do it or shouldn't do it, but for the purposes of just keeping things simple, maybe let's just hit save. All right. Let's choose your time zone, and then 9 to 6. That looks good. Okay. So you can't scroll any further down, right? Okay. So let's scroll up, and you'll notice that the settings is not in green yet, which is a little bit frustrating. What I'd like you to do under auto reply, even though I don't want you to do auto reply, let's just toggle it on. Okay. Now let's toggle it off. Okay. And then let's scroll down and see if we can hit save or anything like that. Is it sitting now? Okay. So just for kicks, let's go back and toggle it back on. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what we need to do? Why don't you move the 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. to shift it to 5:30. You just need to move it a little bit. There you go. Okay. Now scroll down, hit save. It just makes you shift the time thing a little bit. Now let's scroll back up. Okay, let's hit activate auto reply. Sometimes it just and what's the other issue I've had here? How about for in-mails? Let's just put 100 just to hit save. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Okay, so you'll see let's deactivate auto reply. You will see. Thank you. Yeah, you're doing great. This is you're the exact guy that I needed to do this with. 3 green buttons on the left, and now we see launch campaign on the right. So you can click launch campaign right now if you like. Great. All right. So now do we like this 400 and this 100, or do we want this number less so we're at it total? Well, I think monthly invites is fine. This is going to invite 400 people total. Now, if you had 2 campaigns, one Edward Jones and one Morgan Stanley campaign, you might do. So I'm not sure that any of these numbers together to total to 400. No, they're different. So because you'll see it, I'm going to remaining. Right? Yeah, good question. Though people are going to think I paid you to be on this video. You were the best person ever to do this. So okay, now we have a live campaign. So let's go over to Edward Jones assigned to Eric McShannon. So click that left button. Yep. Okay. Now this is an active campaign, which is great. Okay. Now you're not going to see a whole lot, but let's click home on the left side. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to show you mine just since you just launched yours, so you don't have we don't have anything to show here, right? All right, so stand by and I'll go my dashboard. Okay, so we're going to pivot to mine now.
Okay. Do I do something or
Okay.
you do?
No, you're fine. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to show you what you're going to see over time. Now, a couple things to keep in mind, Eric, is unless you tell me otherwise, and I'm just making an assumption, if you have 300 connections, you probably are not on LinkedIn a whole lot up until maybe today, right? So you probably are not inviting a whole, or at least in the last couple months, you haven't been inviting a whole bunch of people every single day, right?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is this is going to ramp up, right? We're going to see it's going to slowly ramp up the amount of invitations. Okay. So give it a couple days, but when you log in, you'll see this. So this is over the last 30 days. Now I've been doing this a while. So then eventually they kind of let me, can you not see it?
I just see mine. Let me just stop the share, see if that, oh, okay, there, no. Okay, that helped.
Okay.
Maybe I just need to, I lost this screen here. All right, thank you, sorry.
No problem. Okay, so over time, as you're inviting more people and behaving the way LinkedIn wants, the system may allow you to kind of move up. So you'll see in the last 30 days, I invited 578 people, right? When you look at these stats over here, anything in green is above average, right? So you see this little thing. So you can see that my connection rate is about 27.9% in the last 30 days. I think average is about 20. Okay. So that has gotten me 161 new connections. Reply rate, 23% of people have replied. We probably need to update this. Meetings booked. All right. This is just going to show I've booked 10 meetings in the last month, but these are 10 ultra high quality meetings with financial advisors. They pretty much all show up. I send them a Zoom link. We go back and forth. So anyway, let me just see as an example if we've booked any others before I move on. Just give me a moment. Okay, there you go. All right, so I'm going to go into my inbox here. Okay, and this is going to show my inbox. So these are advisors who have responded to message 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, this guy, Kent Cisco, all right, is an Edward Jones advisor, and his last thing he typed was sounded great. Now, recommended responses, it doesn't automatically send it out, but they're not bad. I tend to want to make sure we're behaving as human as possible. Okay. So I typically don't use these, but they're not bad suggestions, right? Before I reply to this, what I'm going to do, Eric, is I'm going to click on view conversation. And what you can do, is you can look and see what's happened so far. So I said, hey, Kent, looks like we have some connections in common. I'm sure this looks familiar, right? This was the first message. Happy to share any experiences we've had collaborating with other advisors like you. Then he accepted the connection. Hey, Kent, thanks for connecting. As the founder of Design My Medicare, I've helped 1,500 clients and full service advisors navigate Medicare, working hand in hand with sharp FAs like you. And, I kind of suggest a Zoom meeting. All right. So he goes thumbs up and let me know some options for next week. Now, I have an assistant. My assistant, as of this moment, doesn't have access to this. I'll probably have her get access to it. But typically what I do is say, hey, I can do a quick Zoom next week. I'm going to email you so that my assistant Hansel can help us schedule. She's happy to work with you or your BOA. Now, you took the course and you remember that assistants at Edward Jones are not called assistants. They're called BOA, branch office administrator. So we're using some vernacular that kind of shows this is not our first rodeo. We're used to working with Edward Jones financial advisors, right? So what I did is I looked over here and I grabbed his email address and I sent him an email. I CC'd my assistant and I just said to my assistant, hey, can you help us set this up? Kent might have you work with his BOA, right? If you don't have an assistant, you could probably just book it right here, right? But my assistant had sent me a chat to say that she booked Kent Cisco. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to mark this, mark meeting as booked. All right. So when I do that, if you remember a moment ago, and I'm going to go back to home, I had 10 meetings booked in the last 30 days, right? Well, now it's 11. All right. So the only thing manually that you do here is when you mark it as booked, because you're going to want to keep track of how many meetings you booked, is when you book the meeting, you mark it as booked and it's going to show 11 meetings. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So do you have multiple active campaigns you split your allowance between?
It depends. I was splitting them. And then for me, I just got in the habit. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do an Edward Jones campaign. And when that kind of runs out, I'll leave that audience alone. Then I'm going to do a UBS campaign or Morgan Stanley.
Having one focus at a time.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, it's not. I'm pretty savvy on these firms and the vernacular, and you know the deal. As you're building a business, you're looking to think as little as possible. Your confidence escalates when you're laser focused. So, you can start on a Morgan Stanley campaign or a Merrill Lynch campaign or anything like that, right? And so, yeah, good question. So anyway, that's that. And then, and what you're going to see is you're going to see the invitations ramp up, right? So tomorrow, let's just say it's 400 invitations a month, and that's roughly 13 a day. It may not send out 13 a day. It might send out 2, right? And the next day it might send out 3 or 4, and it's going to slowly kind of move on up. Now, the other thing I want to let you know is, in general, LinkedIn is not a fan of having other people log in as you, which is what this software is doing. Okay, so call it what it is. So, but they want to avoid the spammers, right? So there's a lot of work that goes into monitoring the algorithm, and that's why we're saying 425 invites a month. If you do that, you're not on their radar, right? So we're good. Again, I really don't want you to be in a situation where you're inviting 426 people. I'm not saying that's the line, but I'm just saying anything. But that's why we just built your campaign for 400 a month, and that leaves you 25 people a month to go, oh, I want to connect with that person and still have a little bit of room to run. Right. Again, just to belabor the point, if you had an Edward Jones and Morgan Stanley campaign going at the same time, it needs to be like less than 425 total. So you might do 200, and then leave 25 for Mac. So I know that you kind of get that. Now, here's the other deal, though, is that with every person who joins the software, LinkedIn gets a Sales Navigator subscription, which you're now paying like $69 a month for, right? So LinkedIn can say, we don't really want anybody logging in other than the unique person. But as long as you're behaving like a human person, right? And algorithms do change, and the back office of the backbone software is monitoring. But so we're just trying to behave human, and they're kind of letting us know how many people we can invite. Does that make sense? Okay. Now the other thing is that eventually I'm going to be, in a not too distant future, is I'm going to be building probably a Facebook group for all of the subscribers, because sometimes when people reply, most of the time it's a guy like Kent who goes, hey, that sounds great, I want to know more about that. Or Christian who says, I'd be interested in learning more. That's great, right? And look, I mean, this is awful. I haven't even replied to some of these yet. Happy to connect on that, right? Other people will reply, but they're not sure they want to meet with you, right? And you try to make your best effort to try to move them along and, let them know that you're a professional and you work with other advisors and things like that, right? So everything I've shown you here is honestly pretty typical. People just go, yeah, I'm totally open to that, right? Some people are not gonna, right? And you can try to, move them along, and I'll be providing you a database of how I've replied to certain things. Ultimately, most of the people are just going to be interested or not, right? But I'll kind of give you some insight on how I've replied to that as well. Now, the other thing that I'm going to make available is I record all of these meetings, right? So you'll have a library of watching me in a real meeting with a financial advisor, and you'll kind of see how I walk through the process and try to get them more comfortable with our process and things like that. So I'll make that available to you as well. Any questions?
So will this campaign stop itself when it has messaged everybody or reached out to everybody? Or does it just hold?
It'll end, and it'll let you know when it's ended, and then you can decide to start it all over again, or maybe let that audience rest and maybe run a different firm. Now, because you've taken the course I teach, how to align your Medicare practice with financial advisors, is that while you saw some unique lingo here for Edward Jones, Money Guide, the BOA, things like that, is that, we have certain vernacular that we know to use at UBS versus Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch and things like that, right? So if the Edward Jones ones ends, Now, don't forget
And we're new one. I need different messaging for the next campaign.
right, right. And
You're gonna have files with those messages with the name of the file, Edward Jones, name of it, Morgan Stanley, and you'll
Right.
have that all on the
right. And then don't forget, once that campaign ends, your if you were to refresh that link in Sales Navigator, your second degree connections are going to be bigger, right? So in some way, next time you run that campaign, it's going to be a bigger campaign, right?
Where you say, where's that refreshing? Can you demo how that refreshing would go?
Yeah, let me see. Well, I guess there's two ways to do it. Let me look at, I'll go into mine.
I basically just have to go back into the Salesforce and make it again.
Sales Navigator. You can, but actually, let me see.
Or is it refresh it?
It's messaging. Okay, I'll go to edit sequence. Maybe that's going to open it up for us a bit. No, it's not it. Oh, what happened here?
I think one of your things is too long. That one there, yeah.
Oh, I got to get one. You know what?
Just say in. Planning in. Okay, yeah, you got it.
Okay. Oh, let's go under settings. I think it's under settings. Okay, there we go. Is it? Darn it. Where the heck is it? Maybe because it's static once you've run it, that maybe the only way to do it is to set up a new campaign. I'm not sure. I think the safest answer is that you would just go back into Sales Navigator and run that campaign again. But if you were interested, just for fun, for taking notes, like whatever the result of however big that pool was when you ran it today is going to be, well, it'll be bigger and smaller because some amount of those people will have connected with you. So they move to close the connections.
Yeah.
But I would guess that for every first degree connection you add, you might be increasing the second degree connections by 2, 3, or 4-fold, right? So it should still be bigger. But that's that. There's also nurture campaigns, which is just your first degree connections. I would just kind of get started on this. The nurture campaigns right now, you've got like 300 connections, and probably very few of those are financial advisors right now. But as you had more and more financial advisors, you run a nurture campaign, which is not subject to the 425 monthly limit because you're not inviting them to connect. You're already connected with them, right? And you can kind of remind them about the importance of Medicare planning and the financial planning process and how to integrate this into Money Guide and things like that. And you can also email them. But the prospecting campaign is the most powerful thing. And, the one thing when I go ahead and teach you guys the class is you guys sit and, politely listen and think, yeah, but I don't have 20 years of financial advisor relationships like you do, Brian, right? And several people who've taken the class like you have done the heavy lifting to meet some new advisors, and that's great. You want to meet a lot, not as many as you possibly can. But I got to tell you, as far as active prospecting, this is all I've been using for the last almost 4 months. And I've been walking the walk and going through it identically to the way you're going to do it. And you saw it. I mean, on any given day, I can look back over the last 30 days and see that I've booked, probably 8 on the low side and up to 12 high quality meetings with brand new financial advisors who I'm meeting for the first time, and they don't flake. And the few that flake, reschedule. So, once you have that meeting, then you kind of need to drip on them and find ways to kind of stay in front of them, right? It's just kind of sales, but you're just constantly trying to get them to run a list of their 64-year-olds and stay top of mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right, cool. And then the other thing I will do is because, you started a subscription a couple of weeks ago and we're just launching today. So I'll go back and look at that and I'll just settle up with you on that so that, you're not having paid like 2 weeks for not having the service. Sounds good, man. And then are you okay with me using this as training material?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. You're the man. Awesome, man. Shoot me a text, screenshot, things like that. Just if you get stumped on anything and I'll do my best to reply as quickly as I can.
All right. Sounds good. You said you're going to put together a resource hub or a Facebook group or something with, I think, basically like that messaging and stuff, if you had those saved in a Google Drive or something by thing, so it'd be easy to, if I wanted to try a different one or start a different one. And I think that would be good.
Yeah. So you'll have access to a shared drive.